Hello. I'm going to do my checks and we'll get started today. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. We're going to have a very good podcast. And we got everything tested out and everything is working properly. This is Encounters. My name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm here on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesday, I do Encounters, where we talk conspiracy theories. We talk about almost everything. And on Wednesdays, on the Spirit Room Network, I do the metaphysical. Today, we have a very up-to-date meeting talking about something that's going to be big, something that's going to be we'll be hearing about for quite some time, and something that's going to be a big game changer. We're going to be talking about the pros and cons of Biden's new immigration policy. And this is going to affect a lot of things. And we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of this. And this is going to be a policy which is, is more than just, some people think it's just have to do with the southern border, but this is going to change a lot of things over a long period of time. So let's go ahead and get started. What is Biden's immigration policy? In a nutshell, it's that everyone that is in this country illegally before January 1st of 2021, I should say, will be able to come out of the closet. And they will be able to start the process of becoming legal. Now, they're going to make this process extremely long and extremely, difficult. It's going to take several years. But there is a reason why they're doing this. And this is something that they've been trying to do for a very long time. Obama was working on this. And this goes back pretty far. And there's a reason why they want to do this, which a lot of people do not understand. Is because we do not know how many people are in this country. Some people estimate that there's as many as 8 million illegal immigrants in this country. Some people believe the number is 12 million. Some people believe that the number is as high as 20 million illegals in America. The problem is no one knows. And this is very, very disturbing because we are a country of supposedly 300 million people living in America, but we have a sizable illegal population and no one actually knows how many people are in that number. And this is the reason why this is going to be a big game changer, because what they're going to try to do is get these people to come out of the closet. And not only so they can start the process of becoming citizens, because if you don't know who's in your country, you don't know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we need to start identifying these people. And this is why they want to make the process that's going to last for several years. And they're going to have to jump through several hoops. And not only do we want to find out if there's 8, 12 or 20 million illegals in this country, we also want to find out, you got to think, with that many illegal people in America that's not getting no aid, no government assistance, no this, no that, no. These people eat every single day. These people own cars, they drive cars, they do everything. They have bank accounts, they have this and that, These people are doing everything, but the problem is they're doing it underneath the radar. And this is another big problem that they want to fix slowly. And this is the first part that they're going to try to fix now, is no one knows how big is the underground economy in America. If you have 12 to 20 million people living illegally in this country every day, and they're eating and buying gas and living in places doing this and that, they are making money. They don't pay taxes. How much, and that's just part of the underground economy. If you don't know what, they don't have no idea how large the underground economy of America is. And this is going to be the first part of trying to figure out how big is the underground economy. Because the goal is, if we could get a lot of these people to pay taxes and to do all the other things like the legal people do, that would make a dramatic difference in the income that the IRS take in, that the federal government and the states take in. Because these people, even though they're illegal, even though they're this and that, they still do everything. When they get sick, they still go to the hospital. They still do this. They still call the fire department. They still do everything. But they don't have to pay for nothing. And this is why they want to try to start getting these people to pay. And this is one of the big hurdles that they're going to have to do if they want to become citizens. They're going to have to register, get a number. You know, it probably won't be a Social Security number. Maybe they will get a Social Security number. Maybe they'll get a green card number or whatever. But they're going to have to start paying taxes. They're going to have a driver's license. Today, you got millions of people on the road that don't have a license, and they drive every single day. And a lot of these people are not driving with no license. A lot of these people are driving under false license. And this is one problem that we have. You know, some people know I do banking, and this is the problem we have at all the banks. When people call the bank and say, hey, I got a letter about, I have an account at this bank. I never opened an account at this bank. And that's a major problem with financial institutions. We run across that problem every single day, where people have accounts, and some of these accounts have been open for years. And then the owner, the real person, calls in and say, hey, I was checking my credit and they said I got, this bank account. I never opened this bank account 5 years ago. Who is that person that's been using your name and you're this and you're that? Major problem. They want to clean this up. And as long as these people are hiding, being stealth, they don't pay taxes, they don't pay this, they don't pay that. We go to the hospital and we get saddled with massive bills and debt and everything. They get sick, go to the hospital. They don't pay nothing. You get it? Okay. Because officially, they don't exist. So this is why we need to clean this problem. There's a lot of resistance. And under, George W. Bush, what they was hoping these people would do was to go back to their country. These people are not going back to their country. And some of these people have been here for several generations. So their kids are legal. But their parents or their grandparents are not legal. Okay. And this leave a web, and then this is only not a Mexican problem. You got people from Europe that overstaying their visa. You got people from Canada. You got people from all over the world that have come to America and have decided to stay. And since we don't have roadblocks and don't do a good job of checking, we only check if you run a red light or have a tail light out or whatever. We never really check, for identification. Now, they have made it tougher. Before, if you was illegal, you could take airlines, everything. Now they have made it to get on a plane. You got to have ID. You got to have this. You got to have that. Okay. But again, some of these people are getting on planes with your ID, not with their ID. So we still need to clean up this issue about who these people are. And then they want to do background checks on these people. And starting the background checks is the thing of sorting out the good and the bad. Okay. That's going to be a major hassle. And if you sort people out by good or bad, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get the bad ones to leave. We've been trying to get people to leave here for how many years now? You know, we've been having a legal problem. You know, Border Patrol was established in the 1920s because of the problem we was having with illegal immigration in this country. This is now 2020, and the problem definitely haven't went away any. The problem is a million times worse. So this is where we're going on this issue. And as these people become visible, then they will actually be able to qualify for things. Like with their stimulus checks. Illegals they didn't get a stimulus check. They didn't get this, they don't get this, they don't get a lot. They can't go and apply for a regular home like we do. They pay cash or work out deals where they buy things, where they make side deals with people or owner financed or whatever. This is part, again, of the underground economy. They want to try to figure out how much money is actually circulating in this country. And this is just part one of doing the illegal thing, because between illegal aliens, between the underground drug trade in America and several other things that's going around in this country, some people think, just like with the dark web, that the dark money of America might be greater than the visible money in America, because you got so much things which are going underneath the table. And if America, our goal is, which a lot of people don't know, is in the next few years to go to a digital economy where there's not going to be any cash. Everything will be done by card. Everything will be done by chip. Everything will be done by electronics. And how are you going to do a drug deal electronically? I guess they're already doing it now with Bitcoin and things like that. And how are you going to, and with these people that's doing things under the table, if people are cutting your yards or babysitting, or you're paying people at restaurants cash and everything, I guess you can still do that on a chip or whatever. But they're trying to, because they want to tax these people. Everything is about money. We pay taxes. They take a hell of a lot of tax out of our checks. Illegals don't pay tax. And the other problem we have too, which a lot of people do not realize, which we'll be going into now, is not only the problem of legal and illegal, we also need to switch our immigration policy around, because we are running behind. Because if you visit any hospital or any, a lot of these big companies, you see a lot of the engineers and nurses and things and the doctors do not have American names. They're from places all over the world. And what we need to do is to attract more of these people. Okay. Because there is a brain drain in America. A very bad brain drain in America. We are trying to get, kids to go into engineering and science and whatever. But, when you try to talk to kids about, hey, why don't you try to get a master's degree or a PhD in physics or chemistry or science, that's not at the top of a lot of kids' lists. I want to get a master's degree in chemistry. That doesn't, it doesn't have that chewy, ooey feel to it. But when you're looking with people for master's and doctorate degrees in chemistry and math and whatever, you go to countries like China and India, and they're a dime a dozen. Okay. And we need to fix, and if we're going to stay ahead of the race with technology and whatever, which we're quickly falling behind, which we have talked several times before, we need to start not only getting these people, how we've been solving this problem for the last decade or two is by giving these people visas to come to America. And a lot of these people that come with visas, they end up staying. Under Trump, they was trying to limit the number of visa applicants. So people would hire a lot more Americans. That did not work. And after a year or two, Trump threw up his hands and let H1N1 go through. Okay, because these places was really hurting, especially the hospitals and, the Silicon Valley or whatever. They're having trouble finding the people. And it's not that they can't actually find them. A lot of these people from overseas, they're willing to work a lot cheaper than people in America do. Okay. You talk about a person from India and China, and you're talking about making $100,000 a year as whether as an RN or this or that or these other things. That's giant money to them. In America, a lot of people today, we are so spoiled and so much into giant money that a lot of people today, especially, this is why as a lot of the older doctors and things are retiring, it's hard to fill those positions because the pay scale in America is really up there. And by foreign workers coming in and they're willing to work a lot cheaper, some of these skills are pretty good. You can be an RN and make $100,000 a year. But even at that, when they needed specialty nurses to work in New York City when they was having a pandemic and whatever, even though, some of these deals they was offering in New York City where things got super bad, where you could sign up to work a month and a half, and they would pay you $100,000, $75,000 just to work a month and a half. A lot of American nurses wouldn't do it. Okay. They just wouldn't do it. Because they were stacking bodies over there. Things were super bad. Some of those nurses got sick. Some of them died. But for foreign workers, they was lining up for jobs like that. They could make more in a month and a half, 2 months than they could make in 2-3 years back home. Okay. That is what we're doing. And this is what is the problem not only in America, but as we talked before, in Europe also. And in Asia and in China and Japan especially, Scandinavia too, is that America is an aging country. The average American now is almost 40-something years old. Okay. And as we move up, and we still got all the baby boomers that are starting to retire, I'm planning on retiring myself in 2 years. Okay. And as the baby boom generation retires, we need a lot more children coming up the pipeline. And what we're having to do is we're relying more and more on people from overseas. So we're not the only country in the world which has fallen behind. So this is the secret of why Europe has let in so many people from Eastern Europe, have let in so many people from the Middle East, have let in so many people from Africa and other places, because they need young people. And most immigrants are young. You're looking at people that's 13, 15, 18, 21. Those are the people that can do the hard jobs, that are willing to work the giant hours. Okay. This going back to me, the job I work at, they're bugging me all the time about, working from 7 to 7 every day. I'm not working from 7 to 7. I don't even want to work my 40 hours. I would love to work 3 days a week. Okay, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Okay. When you're young, you got money to burn. When you're older, money is important, but it's not just as important as it used to be. Yeah, you want money, but you want to enjoy the money. Before, you just was into stacking it and you was spending it as fast as you could make it. When you get older, I don't know. You get a different mindset. You would rather have less of it and enjoy it more. Okay. And that's what thing it is. I don't even want to work my 40 hours anymore. I would love to work, 25, 28 hours a week. Okay. And as America gets older, this is the problem. And this is why we're opening up, and we are starting to let people in. Now, not everybody is excited about this, but as I said, we're not the only one in this country. This is what Canada is doing. This is what Europe is doing. Okay, and we need these younger people, to actually work the hours. But we are trying to get people who are younger that we can assimilate into American culture. Okay. And American culture is changing into multinational, or what we talked about before of what's going on in the cities, to where you get people from all over the world, different cultures, different religions, this and that and everything else, and you're beginning to get that spaghetti bowl. Okay. And this is what Queens is about in New York City, or if you go to, certain places, especially in California, or even places like Flint, Michigan. You go up to certain cities in Michigan, like Dearborn and whatever, and you might even forget that. You might think you crossed into another country or whatever. But this is what is happening all over the world. Okay. And a lot of people do not like this, but we don't have a choice because, as I said, as we move into the future, the world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And competition is becoming greater. And one factory now can make the global output of something. And if they can buy it from us, they can buy it from China, they can buy it from the Germans. It's just competition. And if you want people to buy that American product, then you got to be able to produce the price. You got to have the labor force. You got to have this. And no one cares how you do it. Okay. And this is what Germany is doing. Germany is bringing in all these young Muslims and all of this, whatever. And they got these, classes to teach them, German, and try to teach them German customs and try to do this. And some of that stuff is working, some of it's not. But at least they're making money, and at least those German factories are humming. Okay, those people have jobs. Okay, they're willing to work the hours. When you say, are you willing to work 30? Yes, see. Every language, the answer is the same. Because young people want to make money. Okay. And that's what is going on. So how is this going to change America? With not only when these 8, 12, or 20 million people go from being illegal to legal, that's going to dramatically change the outlook of a lot of states. Because a lot of states right now, especially the border states, they're leaning dramatically in one direction. And even if you only count the legals, like in Texas, Texas, the legal population is astronomical. Especially when you get, West Texas, in the Valley and whatever. I live in the Valley, and gosh, you get shocked here when people tell you I'm not legal, or I'm not this, or my mom is not. It's very, very common here. Very, very common. And Border Patrol is, they've been beefing up Border Patrol. I've been here 30 years. There's more Border Patrol than there ever been, this and that and whatever. It has made very little impact. Very, very, very little impact. Okay. But as I said, these people are doing the hours. But as these people become legal, that's going to change America in some astronomical ways. And this is what is changing, that's going to change our food. That's going to change our culture. That's going to change, a lot of things. And we're going to become more of a melting pot for those who are willing to melt. And that's what we was talking about before, how a lot of cities have changed. If you go to any city, any major city in the country now, you just see people from everywhere, dressing all kind of ways, speaking all kind of languages. But we all seem to get along. Because most people, besides those Karens out there, are minding their own business. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And and you live in your neighborhood, and it used to be that white neighborhood or that black neighborhood, and now even on the black side of town, you got everybody living on the black side of town now. Okay. So it's just change. But a lot of people are reluctant to change. And this is going to also change not only our politics, because as these people, most first generation immigrants don't vote too much. But as these people start, assimilating more and more and more, this is going to dramatically change, the prospects of maybe even bringing in a third political party in this country. Because the Hispanic vote is becoming massive, and probably 10, 20 years from now, the Spanish vote is going to be super massive in America. Super, super massive. Okay. And that is going to affect a lot of things. Just like now, if you turn on any TV, you got so many Spanish stations, this and that. And as these other groups come in, as you see in some cities now, you're getting into Arab stations and Oriental stations and this and that. A lot of this is on cable, not on cable, on satellite. But as these groups increase more and more, these stations are slowly coming over to where you can just see them on your regular thing. Because it's all about who's paying the money, who's paying the thing. And we're seeing this in our food now. Before, when you went to the grocery store, they keep expanding those aisles. At first it was just the aisle that had, now they have the Spanish aisle, and then they have the Oriental food aisle. A lot of places now have an aisle for people that's, can only eat, because, people who are Muslims or whatever only eat certain types of food. And they're catering to those people. Okay. Because the food market is changing. So this is going to make America more of, in the cities. We're already seeing this already. But as these people move more and more into the countryside, this is where you're getting some of the flack. Okay. The countryside is not, and this is the problem as we talked about before with Brexit. A lot of people in the smaller towns or whatever are not into this. They want things to stay the way they used to be. But moving into the future, we are moving into a global economy, a global everything. And probably just like Europe became, some people are going to get mad, Europe went from individual countries, and now they got the United States basically of Europe, where you can travel from country to country. That's where America was heading before now, when NAFTA was around. America, Mexico, and Canada was slowly becoming one country. And then that was put on hold. But in the future, you're going to have entire blocks of regions, and this is what happened in a lot of Asia. They just signed a new giant trade pact with China. And under that trade pact, over the next 10, 20 years, you're going to be able to move throughout all of Asia, just like you could move throughout Europe now, if it wasn't for that coronavirus. We still got to get rid of this coronavirus. Once we solve our coronavirus problem, things are going to be a lot different. Okay. And we have another continent that's coming online, which we have really ignored a lot, ever since, we've been in this country. We have never really talked that much about Africa. And when we talk about Africa today, we only talk about wildlife, this and that, and other things, and we think of everybody in tribes. But Africa is basically the way of the future. The average African is only like 8 or 9 years old. And a lot of companies are moving to Africa and wanting to open things in Africa because you have billions of people in Africa that needs a bicycle, need a car, need this, need tires, need radios, need this. The market is there. It's the thing of who's going to supply those people all their goods. This was the rush that they had in South America. And in South America, this is the big thing. South America have dramatically increased. Okay. With the powerhouses of Brazil and, and Colombia and Venezuela. And Venezuela's sliding to the side right now, but Argentina, if the virus put a lot of things on hold. But once we solve this virus problem, we're going to see a lot of economic activity. Because as I said, the world is changing. And it's about who can produce the goods at the best price. And borders are no longer an option. And in South America, you got people from Brazil living in Peru. You got Peruvians living all the way. Everybody's living everywhere. People go where the jobs are. And this is what brought me to Texas. I came here because I was in Ohio when the automobile industry was collapsing. And I needed a job. And I was willing to work those crazy hours. I used to work 70, 75 hours a week when I first moved to Houston. Okay. That is what it was all about. And this is what people are willing to do. And people all over the world is willing to do that. So the immigration problem has pros and cons. The pros is that for America to get back on our feet, for America to become, because we need to switch from the old industry to the new industry. We're trying to predict what the new industry is, but no one is quite sure what this world of 2025, 2030 is going to look like. Will it be all electric cars? Will it be, nobody really knows. And as this world slowly comes into view, I was talking to someone about this the other day. If you go everywhere in America now, they're digging up everything and putting sidewalks everywhere in all the major cities. Maybe they're trying to tell us that in the future, we're going to be doing a lot more walking than we are right now. Okay. Have you noticed that where you live? They're putting in sidewalks everywhere. Okay. All over the country. Everywhere they're putting in sidewalks. And with all these new sidewalks, you never see anybody using them. And when people was walking in the street, they needed a sidewalk. They're doing something. Okay. They're not doing this just for the hell of it. But in the future, maybe we're going to be a lot less dependent upon our automobiles than we are right now. We don't really know. The reason why a lot of young people in America do not want to go to college and take that 4-year, 6-year degree and run up all these bills, because young people see the future as online, trying to make money through Amazon or this or that, or flipping real estate or whatever. They see that as the future of making money. Not where you're going to school, study for 4 or 6 years, and then you go and work for a company and they pay you money. A lot of young people don't have that dream. They don't want that. They got all these ideas about making money. Some of this is scams. But there's a lot of young people that are making very good money right now. And they don't work traditional jobs. And a lot of this money also, again, which the government doesn't like, is under the table. I still do my flea markets. Okay. Most of the flea market money, a lot of those vendors, now I'm legal at the flea market, but most of the flea market vendors, they don't pay tax. They're not registered. Just the bigger vendors are. The smaller vendors, again, that's underground economy. So there is a lot of money to be made out there. And what I'm working on is trying to convert this over. Because we need to start thinking about, I'm still believing making money the old-fashioned way. But I watch a lot of the videos now and listen to a lot of these things, and I got my eyes open, and I'm eyeing what people are doing. And I'm shocked at how so many people today do not have traditional jobs. But they still have an apartment, they still have a job, they still have a car, they still do this, they still do that. And you ask them, where you work at? Well, I work. They really can't answer the question. Isn't that amazing? I don't think they're all drug dealers. Maybe they all are. But I think there's a lot of money to be made up there. And we have to get out of this thing of the old way of making money, where we go and we fill in that application and you sit there and you get paid per hour. And, you know, a lot of young people don't want to do that. So we need to change. And we need to go where the money is. And we need to start thinking a different way. And with these new areas opening up, because not only is, you know, you got people from Mexico here, now you got a lot of Hondurans and Guatemalans coming to America. You know, you get a lot of people from Brazil. You know, I'm surprised with my bank work. We get a lot of Venezuelans that are calling, having accounts and whatever. And oh my gosh, you get people from all over the world calling. All over the world. And this is opening back up because remember, trade is both directions. And there is so much money to be made. That's what I was talking about Africa before. But in Central America too. If you can find a connection where you can find something and you could send it to Guatemala, Honduras, or Costa Rica, or those countries like that, you can make money hand over fist because they don't have the options we have. And this is what was the big giant boom back in the 60s when people was doing this and people was buying back in those days from Asia and buying things in Asia and selling in the United States, which was unheard of back in those days. A lot of people made a lot of money. Okay. Now you got the whole world is opening up. And this is what, you know. So this is where we're going. But we have these, so what we need to be doing with these people from all over the world that are coming here. And now that these people are going to be coming out of the closet, because as I said, they're going to have to jump through their hoops. They want to make these people legal, but over a long period of time. 5 years, 8 years. They got to pay their taxes. They can't get any tickets. They can't get arrested. They can't do this. They can't do that. They got to, okay, you get what I'm saying, don't you? And if they do something, you know how it is in America. There's one way to get out of that. You know what I'm saying, don't you? You know the secret. We know in America. We know how we like to do it. Okay. So we're going to milk these people for a lot of money. And as they jump through these hoops that the government's going to make, that they got to do this, got to do that, everything is a fee, everything is this, everything is a process, and they're just going to rake it in. And all the lawyers and attorneys, because these papers going to have to be filled out and this and that, and you're going to have hearings and you're going to have this and that. Oh my gosh, there's going to be so much money to be made over this immigration thing. If you're into that type of work. Okay. This is going to be. And if you're, and on the other end, if you need workers, or like before, you know, since these people are going to be here, you know, looking for work and looking for jobs in the future, that might create opportunities for us, because a lot of these people, since they're going to be out in the open, maybe in the future, who knows, if you want to start, there's so many people that's looking for work and want to work. Okay. There's a lot of opportunity out there if you know where to find it. And that's the reason I'm looking at the videos and the TikToks and the YouTubes and all this stuff, because these people they got so many bright ideas that they're bringing. and their eyes are wide open. Our eyes are kind of... So when you meet these people from all over the world, listen to them. They can tell you some ideas and some ways of doing things which is different from the way we did it. And yes, this will change the way we do things. Okay. And this is, as I said, the pros and cons, because, you know, with every system change, with every paradigm shift, there is pros and cons. Because we was used to America being one way. Then we got used to America, well, was trying to get used to America being black and white. And then this third group came along. Okay, then it was black, whites, and Hispanic. Now it's going to go from 3 groups, Orientals being group number 4. Now we're going to go to number 4 to number 10 overnight. Okay, and you're going to have a lot of cards in your hand. Okay. But this will create opportunity for those. And once this coronavirus thing is over with, for those who, you know, this is what some of these people that was doing, that was these coders and whatever, they was going all over the world. They wasn't fixed to one location. They could work anywhere in the world and make money. And they could make money on the beaches in Thailand or halfway in, you know, in Eastern Europe or in France or South America. They could just be anywhere and do their job. We're not used to that. We're used to where we have to go and sit at that desk and our boss is staring at us and we got to make money. See, that's the old way of doing things. All of this is changing. And unfortunately, as I said before, we do not get a vote on the change. We have to accept the change. Because the world is getting to the point where one day in the future, I'm not going to say it's tomorrow, that we're going to switch from being blacks and whites and Orientals and Mexicans and this and that to being, one day we're going to become human beings. And that is where we're going as the planet gets smaller. And you're going to get whiplash once this coronavirus thing is over. Because a lot of this stuff is already happening. It's just moving slow because the virus is keeping people in one location. Okay. And that's what we're going to be talking about next week. Is about the changes that are happening because of these vaccines and whatever. And that's going to dramatically change everything. Okay. But once this coronavirus thing is over, not next week, next month, we probably have another year or so of dealing with this virus, maybe 2. But once we are able to stick our heads out again, the world that we used to know is not going to be there no more. It's going to be totally different. Okay. And a lot of these people that's thinking about, boy, once things go back, I'm going to go back to my old job and do my old stuff. The old job is gone. You've been replaced by a robot. There was a TikTok talking about that today. This guy who's he's a forklift operator, and he was showing the new machines that his company just hired. They hired robotic forklifts. And he was complaining that he's out of a job. Because they just ordered all these new robotic forklifts. And he was a forklift driver. A lot of the jobs we have, there are no going back to. For the young people, this is exciting. For the older people, we have a lot of adjusting and changes we have to do. Okay. A lot of changes. And back to the immigration bill, when these people, I don't care if you're from Eastern Europe, if you're Africa, or you're from the Middle East, if you're from everywhere, as these people come, they're going to bring their food, they're going to bring their culture, they're going to bring their religion. And in a lot of places now, which some people don't like, you were staring when they built that, at first it was just, Lutheran, then it was Methodist, and then they opened that Catholic church over there, and you was kind of eyeing over there, and then they opened this and that, and now they got that mosque, and now they got that Hindu temple over there, and now they got this or that, and oh my gosh. Some of this stuff they're building, some of these mosques, they're opening a giant mosque in New York City that's going to be several blocks in size. Okay, you don't get a vote on that. That's what happened in Houston. They opened this giant Hindu complex. Okay. People lived next door to that thing. They didn't even know what it was until they opened it. And their jaw was dropping. Okay. When they saw people with yellow robes walking, or orange robes walking around. Okay. With shaved heads. Okay. That's not the old Sugarland that they used to love, that had big signs. Oh my God, I can tell you about this story about part of Houston. You'd be so racist and so bad. But everything is a changing. And you don't get a vote. The only thing you can do is you can be a hater and bitching and crying and doing this and that, or you can just change with the change. And just because you go in the grocery store now and you're seeing all this food you've never seen before, doesn't mean that you have to eat it. Right? But you don't have to be a hater. You don't have to have an opinion on every little thing. But a lot of people are not used to this. A lot of people, especially older people, they're going to go kicking and screaming all the way down the aisle. Okay. But I guess it's all good. A lot of this stuff I look at, I don't eat. Some of it I taste, But I'm kind of set in my ways to the food I like and the food I eat. Okay. But that is the world we're coming to. And that's going to change so many things. Okay. But we need to embrace the future if we're going to survive in this future world. And this future world is going to have some fantastic opportunities. Right now, there's a lot of money being made by people who are on top of things. And with any big paradigm shift, there are people who are on top and the people who are on the bottom. You have to do what you got to do. You got to try to stay up on things. And if you see that your job is sliding, that's the reason long time ago when I was in Houston, I used to be a draftsman. Draftsman doesn't really exist anymore. That's the reason I had to change. I was happy as a draftsman. I loved board work. It doesn't exist anymore. CADM came along, and then from CADM, drafting has basically been destroyed. And maybe that guy that's that forklift operator, maybe he can go and apply for another forklift job, but that field is going to shrink. And so many fields that we know today are shrinking. The robotic trucks are coming in. These self-driving trucks, they're replacing a lot of the people that used to work at the grocery. You go to Walmart now. Walmart just made a new store that don't even have any cashiers. Everything is self-service. Everything is self-checkout. And these new ones that's coming very soon, they won't even be self-checkout. They will basically scan everything and you just stick your card in there and pay. Okay. They will all be barcoded. Everything will just be that way. The world is changing and we have to change. and what America looks like is going to change. But that doesn't make it worse or better. But we have a way of learning from these new people. And that's the reason I like to talk to people from different parts of the country and different parts of the world. Because they get me to think about things that, because I live in that groove. And sometimes by talking to these people, you get to learn new things. So, what will America look like 20 years from now? Okay. What will be, who knows? But a lot of cities now, they're dramatically changing. Dramatically. As all these new people coming in. And, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Okay. But we have to find a way to survive. Our kids are going to find a way. It's our generation that's going to have the adjustment problems. Okay. And if we're going to stay on top, then we're going to have to start changing how we do things. This is why another Biden thing he wants to do is with the child tax credit and start giving people, because there's so many people, the gap between rich and poor in this country is becoming extremely large. Okay. And we have to start pulling people back up again. Okay. We have to do something. This is what made the middle class. Is after World War II, we made it where people could make decent money, where people could afford, get a home and do this and that. Today, it's to the point where you're working, your wife is working, everybody's working, and you're still running around like a chicken with your head cut off. We got to do something to help people. And the easiest thing to do, if we want people to have babies, which they have always done, this is why earned income credit is for 3 kids. And most people have 2-3 kids because that's what earned income credit is about. See, this is not by accident. If you want people to have kids, you got to make it where it's convenient for people to have kids. If you make it where it's hard to have kids, then people will not have them. Okay. And if we want people to have kids, we're going to have to change the structure of things where people can have kids. Okay. And the problem with a lot of people now, because of the problem of having kids, people went from having 8 kids to 6 kids to 4 kids. Now today, a lot of people are just having 1 or 2 kids because it's too much hassle. And even though they could get that earned income credit for having 3, they don't want the hassle of 3 kids. We need to bump that up some by making it convenient to have kids. Or we're going to end up doing what Scandinavia is doing. In parts of Scandinavia, they'll pay you $50,000 if you're a blonde lady with blue eyes and you want to have a blonde hair, blue eye baby. They're willing to pay you giant money to do that because they don't want to have kids over there. This is the problem we're having. We are an aging country. And the people of South America, the people of the Southern Hemisphere, is a lot younger than the people of the Northern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere is getting old. In Europe, America, everywhere. Okay. The only place that's not true is China. In China, the average age is very low because of their one-child policy. Okay. But in the rest of the world, all of the young people live in the Southern Hemisphere. So we got all these people from the Southern Hemisphere moving north to take the jobs. And they will change the world. So it's going to be people from South America, Central America, people from the Middle East, people from Africa, that's the future. Because they are the young people in the world. And the people of the Northern Hemisphere is up there. The average German is 45, 50. The average Canadian is almost 60 years old. Okay. The average Japanese is like 62, 65. Okay. It's getting very bad. Very, very bad. So this is where we're going into the future. So a lot of people are not jumping up. The reason I wanted to discuss this is because a lot of people believe that this is something that they're pushing because they're trying to get all these illegals in this country. They are trying to get people in this country because they want these people to overthrow. No, it's not a thing about overthrowing. It's the thing about needing workers. Europe is letting all these people that are not Europeans into Europe. Not because they want people from all over the world, in France and Germany, everything. They need young bodies. And the young people are the people that are willing to work. You make money off of young people. You spend money with old people. Because with older people, you got health care, you got to pay them pensions and Social Security and this and that and everything else. Younger people, you make money off of. So this is why all over the world they're letting these people from the Southern Hemisphere in. Okay, they are the young. And when we start letting, when this gate open, we're going to have so many people. And as an old man, I might get pushed out because it's these young people moving in. As I said, the younger people can adjust a lot faster. It's the older people that's still having trouble with this new digital state, with these new devices. We can go and get our 5G phones. We couldn't even operate our 4G phone. You understand what I'm saying, don't you? Okay. We're having hard times. Okay. But we're going to make it. And the future is going to be bright for our kids. And that is what is important. That we have to keep going straight, because we can't as long as we keep prosperity going on, there's two ways to move into the future. We can either open it up, or we can fight over the future. And we can fight over who got money, who got this, who got that, and whatever. And then we're going to have a future of wars against the haves and the have-nots. And that is what we're trying to avoid. Okay. So this is the only way we're going to cross into this 2025, 2030 world that's going to be super high tech with all these young people. And even in the movies, like in the movie Blade Runner that is 25 years old, even in that movie, the people of the future, they lived in buildings that was 200-300 stories tall. All the rich lived at the top, but at the bottom was like a ghetto. And at the bottom, at street level, they spoke a mixture of English, Spanish, and Chinese mixed together. Okay. I think some of these people that make these movies actually have machines that can actually see what the future's all about. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But the people at the top. So where are we going to be? At the bottom? In the middle? Or at the top? I'm not going to be at the top. But I'm going to try not to be ground level. Okay. Maybe a few steps up. Maybe a few ladders up. But we got to do what we can. And we can have a future where we can go into it and try to keep wars behind us, or we can just blow everything up. And we still got these people from the future are still warning us about World War III, which we need to try to avoid. And World War III is going to be about the fight over oil, fight over water, fight over this, fight over food, fight over this and that. It's about the fight of resources, is what they told us. We can avoid that by actually opening the gate and letting people in. You can't stop progress. Okay. And hopefully by doing that, we can keep the peace and we can actually have a future where we can all live together as one. With that, I'm out of time. I vote to have a future, and maybe, in 20 years from now in America, you might have 20 different languages being spoken, this and that and everything else, but we can do it peacefully, or we can fight and kill each other, and the few survivors try to, come out the other side. But I vote for, we're all humans. We're all God's children, and we all need to survive and live as one. With that, I look forward to seeing everyone next week. And tomorrow I'll be on the Spirit Realm Network, and we'll be talking on the metaphysical. With that, I'm out of here. I'm your Full Spectrum Gnostic. I hope you enjoyed the show. Share it. Join my Facebook page or look me up on YouTube. I'm out of here. Bye.